Very good. Let's begin. So tonight's learning is the Ilui Nishmas. Ezriel ben David, that Neshama Shavin Aliyah of Eric, Samson. It's my honor to be doing this, and yeah, it's just a good reminder always that our loved ones whose consciousness that we have the privilege of knowing in a body is not are still here with us, maybe on the second floor, and all that's changed is the body. And that is why we, just to put some context here, that's why we do mitzvahs for the aliyah of the neshama, because they can no longer do mitzvahs, because mitzvahs souls can't do. And that is the advantage of being in a body. In fact, I know we're supposed to be doing a chapter 2 Mishna Aleph, but just to quote another Mishna, the Pirkei Avot, which says, "Against your will you born, and against your will you die." And this exact Mishna is actually talking about the significance of an embodied soul, and the difference between an embodied soul and a soul without a body. That against your will you born, it's not simply on the literal level. We don't have free choice. We sent on a mission. We're not given a choice in the matter. But where is the soul? The soul is basking in the rays of godliness, under the Kisei HaKavod, in Gan Eden. And it's enjoying the closeness, because that's all the soul wants, is closeness, is oneness with the source. And against your will you born, we get sent down here into a body, into this world where seemingly there is no closeness, there's distance. But then we realize, this is actually where it's at, because this is where I can fulfill the will of the one who I want to be close to. And there's no greater closeness than being one with the will of your beloved, or fulfilling the will of the one you want to be close to. That's how we are close. And the neshama gets to do mitzvahs because it's in a body. And the neshama can't put on tefillin. And the neshama cannot light Shabbos candles. And the neshama cannot give tzedakah. And the neshama cannot hug another yid in a time of need. A body can. And that's why we say that against your will you die, because now that I've realized this is where it's at, this world, and in a neshama in a body, now I don't want to go back anymore. And that's the deeper meaning of against your will you're born, against your will you die, which is why we are learning tonight Ilui Nishmas, for the elevation of the soul of Ezriel ben David. Sorry. Okay, just ignore the background noise. Okay, so you know what? Maybe let me just deal with it for a second, and then. Okay. Can everyone hear? Can we see? Because I'm not getting any feedback, and I can't even see myself. Can someone just give me a? Okay, thanks.
We can hear.
Okay, so thank you. So here's an interesting question for you, and actually maybe you can chat in the comments, or you can unmute yourself. Here's a story. A Jew is thrown into prison. This used to happen a lot, often in the Torah days, in the old days. And the king, or the one who throws him into prison, has said, "I will give you one day to come out of prison. I'll give you 1 day free to practice your religion. So my question to you is, which day should our Jewish prisoner choose? Or which day would you choose? God forbid, theoretical question, you were thrown into prison and you're given 1 day to come out a year. Which day would you choose to practice your religion? Which would be the most important one? That is our little dilemma for this evening. So I'll just open up the chat and you can type in what you think is the correct answer. Which day, you're given 1 day a year to practice your religion, to come out of prison, you have the day free. Which day would you choose? And you can answer that. That's a question. Let's get some feedback. So Purim, Renee says Purim. iPhone, whoever iPhone is, says today. Wink, wink. Okay, you've learned the Mishna, huh? So I've heard. So I ask this question. We do. Baruch Hashem, Eric Samson is the one who helped us found the Chabad on campus for college students, and we give every semester, we give a course, an 8-week foundational course in the foundational elements of Yiddishkeit. And I asked this question when we begin the session of mitzvahs, and I get all types of answers. I get the answers of Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the year. And I get the answer of Pesach, because, Pesach is the day that Yidden became Yidden, right? And I get all sorts of beautiful answers. And actually, this is not a theoretical question, because there was a rabbi in the 15th century, just after he actually lived in the Radvaz. The Radvaz, maybe actually, put it down over here. Rabbi David ben Shlomo ibn Zimra, who was a Spanish rabbi who lived during the time, he actually fled Spain during the Spanish Inquisition. And he was given this question. It's documented in his responsa. There was a Jewish prisoner who was thrown into jail, and the king granted him 1 day a year to come out and practice his religion. And he was asked this question: which day should he choose? And you know what he told him? He told him, the next available opportunity, tomorrow or today. He should go out as soon as he can and do whatever mitzvahs he can. So whether it's the morning and he can lay tefillin or say Shema, the morning Shema, the next possible mitzvah he should do. And, so this story actually comes from this Mishna. This Mishna, this answer is based on our Mishna tonight. Rabbi says, actually, it's the second. It's the second part of this Mishnah. So we'll just skip there to the. It says, Rabbi says, so we're on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the last word of the 5th line. Vehevei zahir b'mitzvah kala kechamura she'ein atu yodea matan scharan shel mitzvahs. One should be as careful with a minor mitzvah, or a seemingly minor mitzvah, what seems to be a minor mitzvah in our eyes, as with what we deem to be a major mitzvah, because you do not know the greatness or the great reward of a mitzvah. So we think Yom Kippur is the holiest day, right? And I want to be a holy Yid, so let me observe the holiest day of the year. someone wrote Purim, maybe because Yom Kippur is actually called Yom Kippurim, the day which is like Purim. So actually, there's an opinion that Purim is greater. Either way, the answer is like the Radvaz answered this person in jail. You should take the next possible opportunity, because there's no such thing as a big mitzvah or a small mitzvah. Every mitzvah is what is a mitzvah. Chassidus teaches us that the mitzvah, so mitzvah means a commandment, right? But mitzvah comes from tzavsa, which is the root. Tzivah comes from the word tzavsa v'chibur, which is actually a connection, a bonding. The mitzvah is a bonding agent, right? Like you have, what is an aleph? An aleph is a yud on top and a yud on the bottom, and a vav in the middle. The vav is Torah mitzvahs. The yud on the top is the Eibishter. The yud on the bottom is the yid. The two yids are connected how? Through Torah and mitzvahs. That's a mitzvah. Mitzvah is a bonding agent. So a mitzvah means a bonding with Hashem. What's the reward? Pirkei Avot says, schar mitzvah, the reward for a mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. Okay? What's the reward for, hanging out with your beloved? You need a reward to hang out with your beloved. After a long week comes and you're sitting with your spouse, with your partner, with your kids after a hard day at work, what's the reward? You don't need a reward. That is the reward. So Rabbi is telling us over here, there's no such thing. Small mitzvah, big mitzvah. Okay, whatever meaning you ascribe to it, that's according to your estimation, according to the limits of your comprehension. But we really don't get the infinite value of a mitzvah. And that's why the Radvaz recommended that this yid come out the next possible day. So we've skipped to the second part, but let's go to the first part of the Mishnah, where Rabbi says, Rabbi Omer, Eize hi derech yeshara sheyavar le'adam. What is the correct path that a person should follow? Kol shehi tiferes la'aiseha v'tiferes lo'i min ha'adam. Whatever brings beauty, or tiferes is harmony. You can translate tiferes as beauty. You can translate tiferes as harmony. You can translate it as grace, perhaps even dignity. That which brings harmony to the person who's doing it, and that which brings harmony to mankind. That is the path that a person should follow. What is the wisdom over here? What is the teaching over here? We should try and do things in a way that benefits all parties. This is a lesson of compromise. It's a lesson of dignity. It's a lesson of not being so it's a lesson of consideration. There are from a Yidden, there's Jews who do things in the name of heaven, in the name of Torah mitzvahs, and it's that the people that are involved, or the people that are affected by what they do, are not taken into consideration. This is not the way of Torah mitzvahs, right? We say every time we pick up do Hagbah in the Torah, we say that the Torah says its ways are ways of pleasantness and peace. The way of Torah is the way of peace. So the path of Torah should bring harmony and peace and dignity to the one who is involved in this endeavor, and to those who are affected by it, to mankind. I always, whenever I think of Eric, Israel, of Shalom, the word, my natural association is obviously my one and only encounter I had with him during his life, when I met him for the first time, and I was a little pisher, still a little pisher, but if I'm a little pisher now, I was a real pisher then. And he had no idea who I was. But what I walked away with from that encounter was how he made me feel. The grace that he afforded me, the time of day that this inconceivably busy man, an important man, afforded me. This, we'll have a 23-year-old guy, and that's what I was blown away with. That's what I was struck by. We did 10 mitzvahs in the last year for Eric's birthday. My mitzvah was to give people dignity. Even if I have nothing. If we stop on the road at the robots in South Africa, you have lots of opportunities for chesed. And even if I don't have a coin or if I don't have the food, at least I can roll down my window. And I've been doing this. And I've been talking to the people who are desperate for anything. Trust me, I'll give them anything. I'll be happy. But if I don't, I've started to have a chat with them and say, hey, what's your name? And treat them as another human being, because they just faced with rejection every single day, all day, and to give them a bit of dignity, to give them tiferes, to bring some harmony. What is the derech yeshara that a person should follow? Kol shehi tiferes leiser v'tiferes la'adam. Anything that brings beauty and harmony and peace to himself and to all those involved, to all mankind. So that's the first. It's a fantastic Mishnah. We're not going to get through it all in 30 minutes, but there's so much to unpack even in this little line. And actually, I saw the Ben Ish Chai says in this teaching, Rabbi is actually addressing the question of whether it's to be righteous as a wealthy person or to be righteous as a poor person. Now, obviously, there's some advantages and disadvantages to both, right? Obviously, there's advantages to serving God with wealth and then serving God with poverty. There's the distraction and the temptations that wealth brings, which is the advantage of poverty. Please God, all Yidden should be blessed with assurance, with great wealth, and we should also be blessed with the strength to not be distracted by the tremendous potential and power that wealth brings. But Rabbi is actually answering his question over here, because there's a disadvantage to serving God with poverty, and that is that people say, oh, look at this pious Jew. You know what? Maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't judge, but when times are tough, it's much easier to turn to Hashem. It's much easier to be pious and to be God-fearing and to be devoted to your studies and to be devoted to your mitzvahs and to be devoted to the good causes, because, I don't really have another option. I'm almost in my desperation, I turn to Hashem. The great benefit of being a person of means and serving God with wealth is that not only does this bring tiferes, that we're doing good to the Eibishter, but this is a situation where even a person is in a good space. So kol shei tiferes leiseha, and nobody can say, oh, this guy is a pious Yid because he's in a terrible situation and he's desperate, and so he's turning to Hashem. Nobody can say that. It's the biggest kiddush Hashem when you see a wealthy person, a successful and influential person, living a life of Torah mitzvahs and living a life devoted to the Eibishter and the Jewish people. So why is living a life and serving Hashem better with wealth? Because it's beautiful in the eyes of the person, and it's beautiful for mankind. Beautiful in the eyes of mankind, because everyone who sees, it's a Kiddush Hashem mamish, biggest Kiddush Hashem, more than any rabbi, more than any Talmud Chacham. A Yid who is successful, who's an icon, and this was Azriel ben David. The biggest Kiddush Hashem. No, you can say, look,
he could do anything with his life. He can do anything with his success. And look what he did. He devoted his life to Torah and mitzvahs and to building institutions of Torah and mitzvahs. And really, this was a person that kol shehi tiferes le'sev v'tiferes le'adam. Everything he did was brought beauty and harmony and dignity, not just to himself, but to mankind as well. So that was epitomized, this Mishna and this teachings of Rabbi. Let's see if we can do one more portion of this Mishna. Okay. So connected to the infinite greatness of every mitzvah, Rabbi continues. They have a mechashev hefseid mitzvah keneged schara, or schara avera keneged hefseida. One should consider the loss incurred when performing a mitzvah against its reward, and the gain obtained by committing a sin against the loss it incurs, right? So we think of, I don't know if I can get back in time for Shabbos because, from the office, let's say, to light Shabbos candles, because actually Friday is my busiest day or Saturday is my busiest day at the work. So I'm actually what am I going to gain? I'm going to gain Shabbos, but I'm going to lose all of this potential income. Rabbi, he's saying, you've gained up the loss incurred by this mitzvah. Now weigh up the reward gained from this mitzvah against the loss you'll incur. Infinite connection to infinity, Shabbos, and all the benefits that come with a mitzvah against the some money that you'll make. There's a beautiful story I heard about a father who's preparing his son for. We'll end with this. A father who's preparing his son for a life of Torah mitzvahs. It's coming his bar mitzvah now. And he's in the stage of chinuch, right? Because until the boy is 13 and the girl is 12, they're in the preparatory stage, and this is when we're preparing them for actually being obligated to Torah mitzvahs. So this is a chassid in Russia who's taking his kid, and he prepares him by taking him to the mikveh. And because it's minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and you want to go to the mikveh, you got to crack open the frozen lake. You go with an axe, and the father puts his kid into the freezing cold water, and you have to crack the thick ice to get just to the flowing water part. And the kid is screaming, and ay, oi, oi, oi. And then he comes out quickly and he wraps him in a towel, and then he says, he's all warm, and he's geschmack. And the father says to the son, he says, son, you've just learned the one and only lesson you need to learn about being a yid, about being a man, a responsible person. He says, you need to know that in life, there's going to be things that are tempting. It's going to be averas all over the place. And you need to know that it's going to be pleasurable to begin with, right? But then it's going to be oi, oi, oi to end with. Right? It's going to be easy come, and there's going to be consequences. But in a mitzvah, it may be that in the mitzvah is going to be difficult. It'll be oi, 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 and it's kalt, and it's uncomfortable, it's hard. But it'll always be in the end, it'll be First is going to be the oi, and then it's going to be the and you're going to reap the benefits, infinite benefits of a mitzvah. Because what do we say is a mitzvah? A mitzvah is bonding with infinity. A mitzvah, there's no reward like a mitzvah, but the reward for a mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. And the ultimate reward for a mitzvah is obviously Mashiach, right? We don't do mitzvah. People think Mashiach coming is like, like Hashem is dangling a candy in front of a kid. Do this so we get a reward. The reward is Mashiach. That it's that the reward, the consequence is unrelated to, the incentive is unrelated to the behavior. Mashiach is a natural consequence of doing mitzvahs. What is a mitzvah? A mitzvah is a yid taking something material and spiritualizing it. You spiritualize it, you turn this material object into something transparent, and you see the true nature of the material world, that's all godliness. Once we've taken all of the things in the universe, and all of us have transformed this material plane and transformed it so that it's actually transparent, and we've spiritualized the material plane, what are you left with? You're left with a world where you can see straight through the smokescreen, straight through the concealment of Golus, straight through the concealment of materiality. Hashem, everything's one, it's all Hashem. That's Mashiach. It's a natural outcome. It's the compound effect of every year doing mitzvahs is Mashiach. That's the consequence. Tzchar mitzvah. Okay, yeah. In the merit of our Torah and the Neshama of Israel ben David should have an aliyah. The soul should have an elevation. In fact, the Neshama of Israel ben David should not just have, he should have the ultimate elevation, like we said earlier, right? That the greatest thing for a Neshama is to be in this world, embodied in a body, to be able to do mitzvahs. And please God, that should happen soon once again with Mashiach's coming, when we'll be reunited with all of our loved ones, and we'll be able to everything will be clear that it's all Hashem, it's all one. And thank you for joining us tonight. And please God, we should bring nachas to Israel and David, with all of our mitzvahs, and we should double our efforts to fill the void that he's left us with. Thank you to the family for the honor.